Our next speaker, Alex Goldfayn, is a market strategist, consultant, coach, and speaker for product and service companies that are looking for dramatic growth and increased revenue. He helps clients with all aspects of bringing their products or services to market, such as product and service ideation and development, a thinking big mindset, and how to gather deep customer insights about your brands, products, and services. Alex's latest book is called Evangelist Marketing: What Apple, Amazon, and Netflix understand about their customers that your company probably doesn't. Please welcome Alex Goldfayn.
Thanks, Steve. Good morning, good morning. How's breakfast, good? All right, so I'm gonna move around a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, my average customer, my client, grows by 15 to 20% in their first year with me. And I tell you that not to be boastful, but because I'm not a professional speaker. This is not my business, this speaking stuff. I do a lot of it. I've had 12 this month. But my work is to grow privately held businesses. I'm a consultant. I run a consultancy. I do it from what I call our lower level in our house. My wife calls it the basement. She says, no, honey, it's the basement. It's not the lower level. The point of all of that is that I apply this stuff. I've grown my business this way, and I grow the companies of my clients this way. My average customer is 10 to 50 to $100 million. They are either a distributor or a manufacturer, and they're looking to grow. They know they need to market. They don't quite know how to market. So that's where all of these things come from. You don't need me to do any of this. You can do it all. None of this costs any money, okay? These are all free avenues and pathways to growth. So if you choose to apply some of this, your business will have no choice but to grow, okay? We go to the slides. Marketing for revenue growth. You deserve more revenue, ladies and gentlemen. You deserve more revenue because you really, really help people. You really help people. Your customers are improved a great deal by your work. They do, they are. And because of that, your market deserves to benefit from your value. If we're in this world to help people, which I believe, and this is not a religious statement, if we're in this world to help people, then people deserve to know how we can help them. And so we have to change our mindset. We begin today with mindset. Then we're going to talk about marketing techniques, ways to grow your business. And then we're going to talk a little bit about taking action, because way too much revenue and way too much marketing goes to die to inactivity and procrastination and perfection. So we owe it to people. Let me talk a little bit more about this. I was born in the Ukraine, and that little courtyard on the left side, that is the building that I spent the first 2 years of my life in. We went back there in September before all the craziness started in Ukraine. I've never been back. This was the first time. And I saw that. I saw where it was, and I saw that dilapidated building. And the right photo is my dad, and that's him looking at the hallway in which he sort of spent his very young adulthood using. And you see how it's falling apart. And it occurred to me that there's me in front of the front door of that. Look at the roof almost fell on my head, over my head there. You see how the structure of the building, and I saw all of this for the first time. The family knew that we were coming. They set it up. So they let us into this apartment. It's 400 square feet. And 400 square feet is less than these first 2 rows of tables. It might even be like 2/3 of the way back and these 2 rows. And in that 400 square feet, it was my mom and my dad, my grandma and my grandpa, my great-grandma, and I. That is where we lived. And when I saw that, I realized that is why I work, I get to live in this awesome, amazing entrepreneurial country where we can literally accomplish anything we want to if we just work at it and if we're resilient and if we're persistent. And I thought, God, that's, they brought me here. My dad dragged us out as a 24-year-old with $20 in his pocket and jewelry hidden in the baby's shoes, in my shoes. And I was screaming as I was walking because it hurt. And they were literally praying to God because if they got caught, we couldn't come. We couldn't be here. That's the stairway that they went up and down to get up to their apartment. And so that stairway is why I work. And now that's my family. I'm married to a only in America wife who is Italian and Irish and Polish and French. Yeah. Those are my kids. They are now 5 years old. They're twins, Noah and Bella. I would not have this life if my dad didn't take a risk when the world was much smaller. There was no internet, right? He had no English. They didn't know the language. They came to a place they had no idea about. They saw the Godfather movie, so my mom was petrified. But here we are, and that is why I work. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask you, why do you work? We have to be clear on this. We have to be clear in our minds, because when we don't feel like picking up the phone, and when we don't feel like taking that action, when we don't want to bother the prospect, we have to be clear on why we want to work, and why we're working, and who do we work for. And I would suggest to you that it is your staff, and your colleagues, and your customers, and your prospects, and your family. Some of you have your families here. It is also all of those people who do not know about your work and about your value. Yeah? They deserve to know. They deserve to know. We owe it to them to help them so that they can avail themselves of our value. Now, all of that is great, but we're busy, aren't we? Yeah? We're busy all day long. What kind of work are we busy with? Reactive work or proactive work? What are we busy with? Reactive. I hear you guys mumbling, reactive work. Reactive work. Now, I talked with some of you in advance of this session because I like to know what the people in the room are going through so I can structure my talk properly. So I had some nice conversations. People were very giving with their time. And here are some of the things you said. I will not tell you who said this, so don't ask. Here are some of the things you said about reactive versus proactive. I didn't ask the question. The people I spoke with went here voluntarily. We're all out there flat out bidding on everything. They're out there reacting to everything. Another person said, distributors are busy with today's activities. They have jobs to bid. There's no time to look at how to grow our business long term. There is no time. Agree? We spend more time dealing with the issues of the day than marketing. Yeah, that's reactive work. Ladies and gentlemen, the work of revenue growth, of marketing, it's proactive work. We must make time for it. It will not happen on its own. What do we spend our days dealing with? Fires, right? Fires? Do people ever call when they're happy? Hey, great job, guys. That was awesome. Way to go. Thank you. I just wanted to tell you I'd like to pay you more than you're asking for. Does that happen? It doesn't happen. When do they call? When they're upset about something. You screwed up. You did it wrong. It's the wrong part. Send me the right one. And so we listen to that all day long. And we begin to believe that most of our customers feel that way about us. It is not true. It's not true. It happens to be that we are trained psychologically, behaviorally, to complain when we don't like something. But when we're happy, what do? It's assumed. We don't say a word. It's quiet. We're quiet. We don't say anything. Taken for granted. And the fact is, you're doing wonderfully well for people. If you talk to most of your customers who have been with you for a long time, they're thrilled with you. You have to ask them to get that, though. We'll talk about that in a minute. A lot of what I'm going to talk about today, and then in the workshops later across the hall, you've already heard. You already know much of this. People say to me, God, Alex, it's common sense, but it's so great to hear. Of course it's common sense. Of course you know this stuff. The problem is you're reacting to things all day long as they're flying at you. If this is knowing, and over here is doing, for example, we know what to do. We know that testimonials and referrals are among the best way to grow our business. Fair? We know that, yeah? What's the distance between knowing that and doing it as we know we should? What's in between? What's the arrow? Busy. What else? What makes us go from knowing something to doing it? Shout something at me. Phone calls. Right. Phone calls you make and phone calls you have to take. What else? Email. I call it discipline. Discipline. That's the arrow. Discipline is between knowing and doing. What is discipline made up of? Discipline is made up of starting. The most successful people start a lot, right? The most successful people start a lot of things many times. And what do we do after we start it? This is how complicated I think the world is. I actually think marketing and revenue growth is quite simple. It's extraordinarily simple. Ladies and gentlemen, marketing is nothing more than communicating your value to people who can buy it consistently. That's all it is. It's nothing more than communicating your value to people who can buy it. That's the work we're trying to do. And we need discipline to do those things that we know we ought to do. Now, take a look at the quote on the top on the slide, please. Another quote from one of your colleagues sitting in the room right now. Distributors don't have the time to market. They don't have the resources to do it, and they don't know what to do. If they knew, they'd do it. Let me blow up that myth for you right now. This is what I call the revenue myth. Most people assume that growing revenue requires sales effort, that sales is the fastest path to new revenue. Fair? It's not. It's marketing. If you want to grow your business, there's nothing we can do that will grow your sales faster and more significantly and more impactfully and more dramatically and more easily than marketing. People say the second thing. People say that, God, it takes money to make money. Yeah, it takes money to make money. Absolutely asinine. It doesn't take money to make money. It takes a little effort. It takes some elbow grease. In a world where it's easier than ever to communicate with anybody you want to, as loudly as you can, how many personal communications do you actually get throughout the day? How many actual phone calls and emails, one-on-one, do you experience throughout the day? Not many. For me, it's the minority. It doesn't take money. It takes a little effort and action is what it takes. People say it takes a lot of time. No, it doesn't. It's fast. Do you know how long this takes? 15 minutes per day or less. If you can give me 15 minutes per day of marketing your value to people who can buy it, doing some of these actions I'm going to share with you today, your business will grow. It will not have a choice. It won't have a choice. And people say it's very difficult. It is not very difficult. It's quite simple. It's a matter of communicating what you're good at and telling people about your value. Okay? So increasing revenue is actually quite simple and straightforward. We just have to do what we know we should do. If growth is the goal, marketing is the fastest path there. And this is why sales effort is one-to-one, isn't it? You can't be having a sales meeting with more than one customer at a time, prospective customer. Marketing is one-to-many. I can market to everybody on my list. I can market to small groups of people on my list. I can market only to certain kinds of GCs. I can break them up by category. I can market to the owners of GCs differently than I can market to the builders, to the engineering guys, to the architects. I can speak to them differently, to subgroups of those. And then, if your marketing is good, people will raise their hands to your sales function. That's the diagonal line. That's the recipients of your marketing saying to your sales function, I want that. Tell me. Tell me about it. You can market to 1,000 people, or 10,000 people, or 100,000 people, or just a dozen of them. But you can't sell to all those people at once. You can only sell to them one at a time. That's why marketing grows revenue more and faster and easier. This is what you said. I said, how's the marketing? And I said, how's your marketing, person I was speaking to, and how's the group's marketing? Tell me about the people sitting in the room. And this is what they said. I think we do a poor job of marketing. We don't market a lot, and that's pretty customary in our business. Distributors are poor at marketing. Marketing is not a point of emphasis for distributors, but it should be. I agree with that. Let me show you this. These are your products and your services along the y-axis. We get better as we go up, we get worse as we go down. And on the x-axis, this is your marketing. As measured by how satisfied your customers are by your work. Wholesalers, how happy are the distributors? Distributors, how happy are the GCs? How happy are the aftermarket customers? How satisfied are your customers as measured by that? 1 to 10, please rate your product or service for me. Shout some numbers at me. 1 to 10, how good is your product and service? 10, 10, no room for improvement. 10s. 9.5, yeah. So we're almost perfect, but not quite. What else? Some numbers. 8. Right side of the room. 1 to 10. I'll outlast you. 1 to 10. 6. Okay. I agree with all of that. We had 6s, 7s, 8s, a couple 10s, a 9.5. Let's rate it here, because I agree with that. You're right. Next, as measured by the following only interesting measure, how good is your marketing when it comes to growing your revenue? So as measured by new revenue growth, rate your marketing for me 1 to 10. How does it grow your revenue? Some numbers, please. 0. 8. Those will probably be our outliers. We lose them both. Sorry, guys. More. 3, 3. What else? 2 right here. 3. 3. Everybody agree? You guys comfortable with that? 7? All right. We'll throw out the 0 and the 8. We'll put an X here, about a 3, okay? Because that's marketing. Now, here is where they come together. This is where we meet. Let me tell you what the quadrants are. If you have good products and services and good marketing, you have evangelists. Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google, they have evangelists. Evangelists do your marketing for you. They communicate your marketing. If you have good marketing but a bad product, you have what I call angry runners. Angry runners have been convinced to buy something that isn't any good. The BlackBerry tablet that came out a couple of years ago, do you remember this? Research in Motion put out a wonderful campaign behind this. I mean, really good marketing, but the damn thing didn't do email when you took it out of the box. Why do people buy a BlackBerry? To do email. So they bought it, and they were pissed, and they took off. So that's how you really go into extinction, which is what we're seeing with Research in Motion. If you have bad and bad, this is the graveyard. We don't have to talk about this. These companies don't last. Here's where you are. You are a best kept secret. Yes? Your ratings, not mine. I agree. Best kept secret. Sorry? I don't know if somebody was talking to me or not. Okay, I'm going to assume no since it was not repeated. Okay, here is where we are. 2 big points. We want to move in this direction, yes? That's where we want to go. That's the desired direction. I'll stand here so you don't have to follow me around. And there we are. That's the desired reaction. Where's the opportunity for growth? Along the marketing axis or the products and service axis? Along the marketing axis. Where are you spending your time? Products and services or marketing? Products and services. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, your products and services right now, today, as you sit here, are more than good enough to generate millions of dollars of additional revenue for each of you in this room, some of you tens of millions, depending on your size, without improving them one bit. I'll say it differently. You don't have to improve your products or services one iota in order to generate a lot more revenue with them. Agree? What do you need to improve? You need to tell people how you improve them, how they will be better off because of you. Now, do we need to go to the tip of the arrow? Do we need to get all the way to the end? No, we do not. You know what we have to do? We just have to close this gap right here. Just close that gap. Just get to average. Just go from a 2 or a 3 to a 4 or a 5, and there is millions in revenue there. If you're a $10 million distributor sitting here, there is 15 to 20% growth in closing that gap. If you're a $100 million company, do the numbers. Same thing, 15 to 20%. Just get your marketing to average. Just close that gap. By the way, the tip of the arrow, that's perfection. That will never happen, no matter how hard you try to make it happen. And so too many ideas and approaches and behaviors, good ones probably, never make it to the market because we end up paralyzed by striving for perfection. And so what I tell my clients is, move it into the world when it's almost ready. Move it out when it's pretty good. 80% ready, that's a good place to be, because the last 20% is dysfunctional. You're the only one who knows it's missing. Does that make sense? The market doesn't know. If I screw up something in this speech, you will never know. Only I will know. You won't know. So I don't worry about it. I don't care. It's good enough. Okay? That's how to think about your marketing. Obviously, you have to install differently than that. It has to be pretty damn close to perfect when you're installing. That's a different thing. I'm talking about your marketing now. I'm talking about your action. Next slide, please. That's you, professionally designed on the left. The 3 steps to new revenue growth on the right. Mindset, which we've been talking about now. Your marketing actions, your tools, the things you do. And then number 3 is actually taking the action. All right, I'm going to move quickly. There's a lot to get through. I want to get through all of it. After this, I'm doing 2 workshops across the hall, sort of staggered with another set of workshops. We could see you over there for more discussion about this. Okay? First, we have to talk about how you think about your value. And if your marketing is in the upper left, and it shapes your market's perceptions of you more than anything else, right? If your marketing frames your market's perceptions of you, then at the bottom, it is your perceptions that shape your marketing, right? We cannot outmarket what we believe to be true about our business. We can only say what we believe about our work. And so marketing, the diagonal line then, is simply a transference of perceptions from you onto your market. That's all it is. That's all marketing is. We have to believe the right things in order to help our market believe the right things. And so if you want to grow your revenue, we must change what you believe about your business. You do not install doors and hardware. You improve the lives and companies of your general contractor customers. You allow them to have more satisfied customers so that they can make more money. That's the kind of thing you do. If you believe you sell doors and hardware and hinges and services and aftermarket, which is what all of you told me when I talked to you, you're going to market that, and I'm very sorry, but that's kind of boring. Yeah? You probably are bored saying it. And if you're bored saying it, you can bet that the listener is bored too. So how you think is exactly how you market. We must shift our thinking from what we do and sell to how we improve lives and companies. Think about that. Really hone in on this. This might be the most important thing of my whole session. We must shift our thinking from what we do and sell to how we improve lives and companies. And here's the real tragedy. Your customers speak more positively about you than you speak about yourselves. They speak more emotionally, more interestingly, more compellingly than you speak about yourselves. May I have a volunteer, please? I would like this person to be an owner, if possible. And manufacturer, distributor doesn't matter quite as much. A slight preference for distributor, but open to the floor. One volunteer. Here's what you're volunteering for. I'm going to ask you to come up onto the stage and have a 3 or 4 minute conversation with me. I'm just going to ask you some questions. I'd like you to answer them. One volunteer, please. If you're volunteering, just stand up because I can't really see hands. Okay, come on up, sir. What's your name? Mike. Round of applause for Mike, please. Thank you, Julie. Here's your microphone, Mike. Thanks. Hi, I'm Alex. Nice to meet you. Come on over here by these flip charts for me.
Okay. First,
Mike.
Does this guarantee me a 10% increase in my business?
Is Mike's microphone on? Because he's making a good joke.
I never joke
There we
about
are.
business.
All right, Mike, say the joke again.
I said, does this guarantee me a 10% increase in my business?
See, he thinks he's kidding, but the answer is yes.
Good.
The answer is yes. Okay, let's see. Come on this side. I'll be over here. So, Mike,
You'll get
tell
it
me what
right.
you do. Tell me about your business.
We've been in business for 138 years.
Mm-hmm.
We sell peace of mind to customers
Ah,
through
good.
contract hardware, security,
Uh-huh. So when somebody asks, Mike, what do you do? What do you say? Somebody not in the business. What's the business? What do you do?
Say I'm an entrepreneur.
I'm an entrepreneur. Good. And distributor?
Distributor,
Yeah.
yes.
Who do you sell to?
Contractors and end users, aftermarket sales.
Okay. Where?
Indiana,
Only?
yes.
Okay. Good. Now, thank you. We changed gears a little bit. Think of a customer. Think of a good customer that's been with you for a while. Think of a person, the human. Got one? Anybody?
Yeah.
Got one?
Yep.
What's the first name?
Brad,
Brad? Okay, you be Brad, and I'll be you.
okay.
Good? I have no idea how these will go, ever. So this might be a total disaster. I have no idea. Mike and I have never spoken before. I don't know. Brad, you've been with us. One more thing before I start. Think about doing this with your own customers. Okay, as you listen to this conversation, I'm only going to do this for 2 minutes or so, but think about having a little phone call like this with one of your customers when you get back to your office, okay? Think about what this might feel like for you. Brad, these interviews right here are the core of just about every project I do with clients. Brad, we really appreciate your business, and we love working with you, and we're grateful for it. And I'm just wondering, what are some of your favorite things about working with us?
I think you're prompt in your delivery.
Uh-huh.
I think you're attentive to my needs.
Mm-hmm.
You carry the products that typically are on projects that we bid.
Okay. Let's talk about prompt, because I like prompt. How were you improved by us being prompt?
We've been doing business together for such a long time. You've just always been prompt, because if you're not, you know I'm going to call and give you hell.
But us being on time helps you do what in the world?
Allows my projects to come in on time.
Projects on time, and when your projects are on time, what happens then?
I make more money.
You make more money. Are your customers happier?
Yes.
Yeah. Do they stay with you then? Maybe they'll do another project with you if you're prompt and you meet your deadlines on time?
Well, Mike, you know that on bid day, I still have to have the lowest number, because if I don't get the job, you don't get any of the work.
Okay. All right. But a lot of people have a low number, right?
That is said very often.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. But what if somebody else had an equal number to me?
Well, you know, we're always fair. We don't give second looks. You have to have the best number on bid day.
Yeah, but what if I come in tied with somebody? We've been working together a long time. That's probably happened before.
We have, but you know,
Yeah.
our reputation in the community we serve is that we don't do behind the door deals.
I'm not asking you about that, Brad.
Well, what are you asking me?
Behind the door deals.
No second looks.
Brad.
Best number, first number on bid day. You remember, I
Brad,
have
I don't have a
all
lot of time
all
here.
the packages that I have to look through.
Listen,
I don't have time to
tell
do
me about attentive. What do you mean attentive?
attentive if there's a change in the production or the schedule for the project or so on. You are very good about making those changes.
We're flexible?
You're flexible.
Yeah. Do you feel like us being prompt and flexible, those two things together, what do they do for you?
Well, if you're low, they allow me to get my project done.
Yeah. Let's talk about low price, since that's what Brad seems to be interested in.
I think that's
God's
what
sake.
most contractors are.
All right, listen. Us having the low price, because we do that for you, right? I mean, I know that I beat everybody in the world for you now after these 90 seconds talking with you, right?
We've done a lot of projects together.
Yeah. How are you improved by working with us? What's better for you when you work with us?
You're local,
Yeah?
so you can do the projects that
How does local help you?
Faster delivery.
Faster again.
You stock more products.
If I wasn't local and you hired me and I was working with you, how much slower would I be? Give me a ballpark. What percentage are we talking about?
I don't know. I don't know. The folks that are a few miles away get it to me okay. It's just my project people can either come to your office or your warehouse and pick things up a little quicker.
Okay, last question, see if we can do this. The first 3 emotional words, Brad, when you think about working with us.
Prompt, attentive, and on time and on budget.
It's very difficult for Brad to be emotional. Okay, round of applause for Brad. Good. From Mike. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. Is that about how that would have gone? Yeah? All about price? Okay. Thank you. Let's compare the two now. When Mike was Mike, and I said, tell me about your business, he said, I'm an entrepreneur. I've been in business for 138 years. I contract hardware, security. I'm a distributor, and I sell to contractors and end users. And a great thing that he said was, I sell peace of mind. When Mike became Brad, he started saying things that he wasn't saying when he was himself. And he just switched his frame of reference a little bit. And I think he was very, very difficult with me on purpose. So that was good, because that would have been a harder conversation probably than would have actually happened, Mike, if I were actually talking with your customer, Brad. But you told me I was prompt. I'm always on time. That allows you to deliver projects on time, which means you make more money, you retain more customers, they keep coming back to you, you get more projects, and at the end of it, revenue and profit go up. See, that's what you do in the world. Despite the challenging conversation we just had, that's what you do in the world. You're flexible, you're local. What does that give us? What does that give us? Let's start with the first marketing tool and technique. A 5 or 10 minute conversation like that, if you had that with your customer, it would have given you testimonials. Testimonials are better than anything you can say about yourself. There is nothing you can say that is as good as what your customer can say about you. Not as compelling, not as effective, not as connecting. If you tell me you're wonderful, I'm going to say, yes, but you're selling to me. Yeah? You're supposed to say that. If you show me a peer of mine, a peer, 2 words, show me a peer of mine who loves you and why, and they're dealing with the same issues as me, I'm going to say, well, that's great. I want some of that too. See, there's no defense for that. There is no World Cup goalie that can stop the ball that comes from your customer speaking positively about you. And the question is, what are some of your favorite things about working with us, and why? So you get testimonials. And from a 10-minute conversation, you probably get a half dozen of them. Nothing should leave your office without a testimonial. Next, you get an effective case study. Every conversation you have is a case study. That's 1 page long that talks about how your customers are improved. Once you get those things, we must target testimonials to people who can buy from us. You can have 100 great testimonials on your website, but if nobody sees them, they're kind of meaningless, right? It's kind of like a tree falling in the forest, isn't it? There's no point. They don't matter. Testimonials are great, but people need to see them. Other people who can buy from you, they need to see your testimonials. And you need to do the same thing with case studies. I noticed we were working with somebody who was just like you. And here is the value that they got from us. If you'd like, I would be happy to share with you some of the same value. It's hard to say no to that. Let's go back one. I have 10 minutes. What else happens when you talk to your customers? What else happens? Mike would have been pouring cement in his relationship with Brad. Do people not like sharing their opinions and their thoughts? Well, what do you think? Well, I don't want to tell you that. I don't like telling people what I think. People love sharing their thoughts and opinions. They love it. So if we ask them, look, we're trying to improve. We're trying to do better for you. And do you have 5 or 10 minutes to share your experiences with us? And you ask them, what are some of your favorite things about working with us? People will absolutely share it with you. So in addition to testimonials and case studies, you're pouring cement in your relationship, and you're also getting your marketing messaging. You're getting your language. You're getting the words to say. All right, this is activity number 5 or 6. A referral is a great way to grow business. But what happens when we email a referral? When we email a referral request, do we hear back from that? No, we don't. That's why we must promise to ask for a referral before we actually ask for it. A few days after we deliver the product, I'm going to call you and make sure we've served you well. And I want to make sure that you're pleased. And if you are, at that time, I'm going to ask you for somebody else that you might know. You don't use the word referral when you ask for a referral. You don't use the word testimonial when you ask for a testimonial. You're asking for people's experiences and for who else they might know. When the time comes, you simply ask. The success rate on requesting a referral this way? 2/3. 2/3. What's the success rate when you email the request? Yeah, pretty close to 0. 0 or 1. 0 or 1%. Take all of your products and services that you offer, all of them. What is the average rate of awareness that people know about? Not enough. Probably not enough. What time do we have until? I want to end on time. 10 after, we're good? Okay, I want to make sure I do it right. We need to increase the percentage that people know of what we do. Do you know how to increase percent awareness? You ask this magical question. Did you know that we also do X or Y or Z? Did you know? This is how complicated I think marketing is. Did you know we do X or Y or Z? You don't have to pick up the phone to do this. You can ask it as a by the way on an existing conversation. By the way, did you know we do X or Y or Z? Chances are they'll say no. The average percent awareness for most companies about our size here, 25 to 30%. That distance between 30 and 50, millions of dollars of revenue in it. Go through these quickly. Think about raising your prices. I know that Brad was giving me a hard time over there. Mike is Brad, yeah? Think about raising your prices. Several of you even suggested that on the phone when I spoke with you. Your customers that have been with you for ages, for decades, they'd probably stay with you. If the price went up a little bit, they'd probably stay. And that's straight to the bottom line money. And I know there's a reactive fear to this, especially in this industry, but just think about it. Just plant the seed. Just think about it. Grow your lists. We'll talk more about this in the workshop. Send regular value to those people on your lists. Help them. Remember, we are simply helping people. And finally, now that you know what to do, we're not imposing on people. I want to come back to that point. We're not imposing on people. We are not asking them for their time. We are not asking them for their money. We are simply helping them. And if you think about it that way, you're not going to hesitate picking up the phone. We must underplan and over-execute. We must take action. This is going to feel strange to some of you. In marketing, quantity is more important than quality. Only in marketing. Quantity trumps quality. And that's all we're doing. You can do this work, have a 5 or 10 minute conversation, ask for a testimonial, ask for a referral, communicate a testimonial, communicate a case study. You can do these things in 15 minutes per day. It's easy, it's fast, it's non-threatening, and it's difficult to avoid. Each of you have a planner that looks like this in front of you. Take a look at it. Each of you has one of these sheets. We'll talk more about this later, but if you just write down one of those things from the right-hand column into each day and what you're going to do, the chances are much greater that you will actually do it. It actually comes down to doing the action. There's a digital version of this that I can send to you, which will bring me to the next sheet right after this. Top 3 priorities for the week. You write down in the middle part, which is sort of the meat and potatoes, you write down what you're going to do each day of the week, what might happen to keep you from doing it, the anticipated obstacle. When I do these with my clients, everybody in the organization fills these out weekly. The sales teams, the customer service teams, right? The sales teams have the customer conversations and get the testimonials. The customer service teams ask the did you know question. And you get all of this amassing of action, this exponential action in the organization. For 15 minutes or 90 seconds at a time, it doesn't matter. One email would do it. Communicate a testimonial. That would do it. And because people are finding out about what else you do and how else you can help them, and more people are finding out about what else you do and how else you help them, because that happens, business grows. It's relatively easy growth. It's relatively easy growth. Now, each of you has a sheet like this in front of you as well. If you would like the 15-minute marketing planner emailed to you digitally for use in your office, I'm happy to send it to you. Just check yes there at about 2/3 of the way down. The first question on the sheet says, what'd you think about the session? That's how I improve. The next question says, would you like to discuss applying these concepts to your work? Let me know, happy to discuss them with you. And at the bottom, you can sign up for my newsletter, the Evangelist Marketing Minute. Comes out Monday mornings. It always takes less than 60 seconds to read. You can unsubscribe at any time, okay? I'm launching before that. As you look at those sheets and as you fill them out, I'm just ending here. It doesn't matter what you do. I don't care which of these 10 activities you do. As long as you tell more people about your value today than knew about it yesterday, your business will have no choice but to grow. And so tell people how you can help them. Once a day, tell somebody something about how they'll be improved if they'll work with you. Thank you very, very much for being here, and thanks for having me.
Alex, thank you very much for that very, very enlightening session. On a personal note, Jerry Heppes and I, for probably 15 years, have been having an ongoing debate about which is more important, selling or marketing. Jerry, of course, taking the selling side, Steve taking the marketing side. I think I win. Game, set, point. Thank you very much, Alex. Thanks, Bob, as well, for your presentation. Thank you to Allegiant for sponsoring today's breakfast, and to all the other Connection sponsors for your support during our event this week. Our 10 forum breakout sessions will begin very shortly just across the hall. Thank you all again for attending this morning, and have a great day.